Hey guys, you here. Today I'm going to be doing another speedrun of the Assassin Percent category for Heroes of the Storm. Today I'm going to be using the new hero Fenix. I made a video a couple days ago detailing my initial thoughts on his kit, just making some predictions about how well he would run, and I am very happy to say that I was wrong about a lot of the things I was predicting. Some of the mechanics of him aren't initially obvious, which I think I missed in that video, but this character has a pretty insane kit, and if this goes like any of my practices, we should 100% be getting the world record this session, which I previously did with Zul'jin. So those are the times that you see on the side there. Yeah, this character just is pretty phenomenal as far as an assassin goes. He really plays more like a specialist, which is really fun because you don't really get to play a specialist often other than Sylvanas. So it's pretty interesting. I discovered a couple mechanics about maximizing damage with his W. That was one thing. I thought it was just going to be a basic, boring auto attack. But if you time it correctly, you can actually use it to like swap between. Where's the angle? Okay, well there we go. You can use it to flutter between his forms, and it maximizes the damage, which is pretty good. You don't want to be doing it on waves like this, where you're just doing like 500-600 damage per shot, because using the laser is a bit of a waste there. But overall, it's pretty good. So yeah, even though his single target damage is significantly lower than a character like Zul'jin, we're still able to get these things in the first wave, and that's like pretty unheard of, I think, with a character with such low DPS like this. I mean, just look at this. Like, this is like 1,000, 2,000 damage per shot on a minion wave. One thing I want to know, I'm not going to be using the ball W here because I don't want to I don't know if you can really save this gate just by using this character, but we'll see. Something else that I underestimated with this character was his E. I figured it would be pretty much useless and would never use it. But I left a couple seconds late compared to what other characters would do to get that warp pad, and I got there 2 seconds early. So really, he just has a lot of movement options with this, as far as getting to objectives and siege minions a little bit faster, and that's really important and good. One thing to note is that you want to be fluttering this somewhat. Most other siege minions, you want to just stay on the ball because it kills both of them at the same time, and that's good. But you actually want to kill one of these guys faster because otherwise they will kill you. I was a little low whenever I got here. However, we should be fine. And even then, I am almost dying. But we're okay. The same strategy applies with this map. You get both pads and then you push with the Merc Wave, and that's enough to get it. Like I said, he does have a little bit less raw damage than characters like Zul'jin, so he actually doesn't do as well on a map like Braxis, where you really just want to be nuking down the core and forts really quickly. However, I think he makes up for it on other maps, where he can shine a little bit more with his kit. And also, just like taking care of minions is pretty great with him, especially if you can get them positioned right. That's something that could definitely be improved on in the future through more practicing, more runs of the character. Actually positioning the enemies correctly, rather than just your own minions, is actually pretty big. It seems pretty important for this character. But yeah, so we're just going to be focusing these guys down since our minions can't get to them, and basically we just want to be doing as much damage as possible. We could be dealing like 300 damage every second or so with the laser, or we could be dealing like 600 damage a second. It's just really maximizing that damage, getting those fatty siege numbers. Which that's actually like a pretty high number. I've never actually checked that. That's a pretty high number for Braxis, because generally the majority of the damage is dealt by your minions and all that. So yeah, we're going to be a little bit off, I think, for Braxis. Once this wave spawns, we're going to get slowed down, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll actually beat our Zul'jin time, or at least get close to it. Yeah, because these guys take a lot of the aggro, and that slows us down. But we're actually doing pretty good. So yeah, that's Braxis. So we're on to Dragonshire. I theorized a couple different things with the Merc patterns. I don't know if I showed it off in my other video, but trying to take the Bruiser camp. But unfortunately, Fenix is actually pretty squishy as far as characters go. And like most characters, oh no, most characters don't do the Bruiser camp anyway, but I was theorizing that the fact that he could deal damage to all of them at once basically just meant he had to deal enough damage to kill one of them and all of them would die. However, it just seems like you can't survive. There might be some way to like finagle leashing them correctly, but I'm not really sure. Oh, one thing I do want to mention, this is on the PTR. I don't normally date videos, but this is Friday, March the 13th, or not 13th, 23rd, sorry. So I am on the PTR. Which is fine. We've discussed it within the community. It should be perfectly legal. The only thing is that if he does get changed, it'll invalidate the run, and I could move him into a separate category for old runs, but I'm probably just going to delete the run and make another one because I doubt that they will change anything too much. I was just really, really excited to do this run and get it to you guys, so I wanted to do it a little bit early before he released. So yeah, the strategy for most of these maps is decently similar to what they were in the others, what with pushing. It's just I think Fenix does it a little bit better because he does have so much raw damage compared to the others. I actually think I want to come around down here with so that the tower doesn't get me. And do one of these. So since he has this shield, it's good just to get some damage in there at the start. I'm taking a lot of damage, but it shouldn't matter. Braxis is the only map where you have any danger of actually like dying if you take too much damage. Doing Siege Minions, he doesn't really have a good pattern like Zul'jin does, where it's 3 axes the move for the Siege Minions. However, the fact that he has this shield just means he can tank some shots and he's okay. It doesn't really matter. So yeah. This character the patterns for this character aren't quite as obvious because it's not like with Zul'jin, it's literally just hit things quickly and they die. It's the same with Artanis and a lot of characters that are run. However, Fenix, it seems a bit more precise with how, like, when to target a single target, when to target big groups, and I really like that. This is definitely the most fun I've had speedrunning HotS. It's just been pretty fun for me. So yeah, we got the towers, so now we can just let our minions do their thing. And like I said before, we should kill these guys within the same attack. So yeah, we have to tank some, but they deal so little damage to my shield that it really does not matter. And if we don't get hit long enough, then we regen it, and it just doesn't matter. So it's also one thing that I don't love, but I think is good as far as learning the run goes. This character is a lot easier to learn than Zul'jin. Like that Zul'jin run of mine, I think it took around 25, 26 runs from me theorizing that I could play Zul'jin to getting the record and successfully completing it. So it took a lot of effort and time just to get a good run. Even though, like, I was never, like, really behind on time. I was always ahead on time. The issue was that I would just die because the smallest mistake means starting over. And Fenix seems a lot more forgiving. Whether or not that's good, like, I think people can argue that runs with a lot more, like, runs that have you on the edge of your seat are more entertaining. And I definitely see where people are coming from with that. But to me, I like the fact that new people can get into the game because people, if they wanted to be, before, if you wanted to be competitive with Assassin %, you needed to play Zul'jin. And now that is no longer the case, and I think the game is better for that, just because Zul'jin is very, very punishing. If you mess up, you lose a run, and that can be really, really frustrating, especially for new players. Yeah, so there's not much to say about the maps. I do want to mention that I am running Blackheart Bay now rather than Sky Temple. I did some tests on that, and it does indeed seem to be significantly faster. Or at least a bit more consistent, just due to the fountain placement, which seems silly, but that really does have a lot of influence on the how viable these maps are to run. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really, really excited for Fenix. I've actually not yet played him in an actual game since he is only on the PTR, and I'm not really interested in playing a PTR build, especially because I know it's going to be a really long queue time if you want to play Fenix, because everyone's going to be playing him. We have this block here, so we're just going to let that ride for a bit, build up these waves, and then we should... Oh, no, we don't. I don't really know what goes into them finding a way through that. It's kind of weird, but that'll be something I need to test more. So you don't actually want to damage this fountain because you want them to all aggro over here. You just want to wait, clear the minions to make sure that they're all on this side of the fort, and they are. It's funny. It's actually a lot easier to tank the core compared to a fort because it doesn't slow you down. It doesn't give you that debuff that the fort does, and that's pretty weird to me. That I would think it would be the other way around, but I guess they just don't want people diving the core in the mid game. That really has no application in the speed run. I just find it decently interesting, and like the fact that you can clear those guys so quickly means that these guys don't waste as much time attacking them. So yeah, it's pretty good. So we're about even. We're just slightly behind, and that's okay. I think the Blackheart base should make a pretty big difference. Keep in mind, I'm decently optimal with my Zul'jin run. Not perfectly optimal. I've definitely had a lot more time to practice Zul'jin compared to this character. So if I mess up, please forgive me, guys. I am still learning him, but I think we should be fine to get that record. Because Sky Temple really is considerably slower than the rest of the maps, just because half the time you're messing around with 2 siege minions rather than the full 4. Okay, so Blackheart Bay, I have not actually played this in any of my other runs, and that is because I was mistaken on whether or not it was legal. I had a bit of a confusion on the rule set, but it got all cleared up, and we can play on this map. There aren't any maps that are banned short of brawl maps, and that was where I was misinformed. Well, no one informed. I assumed incorrectly. But Blackheart Bay should prove to be a little faster because there is this massive distance between these 2 forts, so there's really no way that your siege mercs are going to aggro that lane. The one thing I don't like about this map, well, 2 things. I actually just noticed there's no walls here, which that is a little unfortunate, so we lose a little bit of damage. But the siege minions are really far back. Like, normally they'd be, like, right up here, but they're pretty far back for this map, and that's not... I don't love that. But it's whatever. It honestly does not matter too much. Especially because, like, we can just jump over some of these gaps down here. God, it sure would be embarrassing if I died. No, I'll be fine. You can jump over those gaps, and that makes it a bit more forgiving. Because you can, like, with Fenix, you can do that. A lot of other characters can't. Surprisingly enough, I actually theorycrafted for a while doing a Falstad build. Obviously, I never did. But I always thought that would be pretty interesting because he would actually... A lot of maps you can't do the objective because they'll be up top or something, and you'll be pushing bot and you can't do them. But I theorycrafted doing a run with Falstad on something like Dragonshire or I think Sky Temple for a while, but that was obviously not very good just because of the maps of the mechanics of the map. I just need a little bit of damage on this thing. That should be good. And now we go do siege camps. Also, we have to wait to do the second siege camp because otherwise they'll just push and they'll get tanked by... Oh, I really hope they hit that. Oh well. They'll get hit by the minions pushing down the wave. And actually that might be possible to intentionally do that, just as long as they don't die and like proxy the lane essentially. So that could be interesting. However, I don't really know, so I don't want to do that at the moment. But I definitely want to be running more with this character. Whenever I finished doing Zul'jin, I really had no more desire to play him just because it was such a difficult run, I'll say. Yeah, so this is a little unfortunate. We were just a little bit of damage off. That is fine because, again, we have so much wave clear that we can just kill these guys. But we would have a large minion wave, and that would have been nicer. Oh, I have the laser on. That's bad. But yeah, Falstad obviously never worked out. Just doesn't really have the pushing potential. And doing the objectives is generally just slow anyway. for those sorts of characters. It's really fun. That's actually something I love about support percent, which I feel like that's like kind of a sleeper run. A lot of people don't really care about support percent because it is so slow compared to the others. But I really like that, like with most maps or with most runs, basically you do Braxis, always Braxis, and that's true for anything just because Braxis is such a good map. But you're going to do Braxis, you're going to do something like probably Dragonshire just because the mechanics of the lanes and all that. It's just a very solid map. And then you're going to do some off map like Battlefield, or not Battlefield. You could do Battlefield. I've seen that. But this map, Blackheart Bay or Sky Temple. And it can be a little stale at times, at least to me, because you are always doing the same map, and that's not as interesting. I like the variance in maps. However, I really love with support percent, you really can like experiment a lot with maps. There's not as many times where it's like, yeah, you need to play this map. Something like Warhead Junction is almost never run, I think, anymore. I think it used to be run. I don't quite know. I've never run it outside of support or warrior percent. But just being able to run something like that is really fun. Figuring out the optimal times to go get the nukes and all that. Something like Dragonshire, you get to do the objective, and that's really fun to me. So that's actually something I want to do more support percent runs in the future. I'll probably stick with Alexstrasza because she seems pretty optimal. Just as far as damage and like good sustained damage because of her E. Yeah, her E. I don't know what this guy's doing. This is unfortunate. Maybe he'll... Yeah, there we... Oh, no. Whatever. That's unfortunate. We're going to lose some time there. I think we're still on pace to get the record. I'm not super happy with this time, though, because I know I could have cut off some time early on. But... And obviously here, because this guy's just a little... being a little funny. I think that one's the best one. No, that's fine. Yeah, so like even if we mess up the setting the minions because this guy just hates us for whatever reason, it's still so far that it does not matter. Like there's no way that these minions are gonna get in here, and I really like that. It makes it a lot more consistent. Is that gonna hit it? No. Oh well. Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying Fenix. I'm really happy with how he turned out. I'm enjoying the run as well. So this is going to wrap it up for this. We definitely got the record here by a pretty hefty margin, I might add. I don't know if that is because of Sky Temple or because of Blackheart. I'll have to do some more practice with that, figuring things out, lab it a bit. But yeah, this is Fenix, guys. I'm super excited for what he's going to bring to the run. I don't think Assassin Percent is a very stale category, but I'm really excited for having some more characters and tools to mess around with, and that's really cool to me. So if you guys liked the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. If you didn't like it, feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you didn't like. Tell me what I can do better. I'll try to figure things out with you guys. I'm always trying to improve. So thanks, guys. And I'll see you in the next one.